show. Let's say good morning to Mr. Rhondall Fields.
Morning. Thanks for having me, Paul, and everyone else.
Morning. How you doing?
I'm fine, man.
Wonderful.
All right. We wanted to have a discussion on the issue of some of the issues facing fathers, in particular fathers and maintenance. And just before that, what we want to do is just play a little clip of a piece we played earlier on, which I took off your social media regarding. Is it Mr. Mohammed?
Yeah. Some of
It's Mr. Mohammed. So let's share that for about 2 minutes, and then we'll come back and talk about the issues surrounding this situation.
Morning, good morning to you. I know you asked for an update on Mr. Anson Mohammed's case. So most of you all may remember Mohammed's case. If you don't, take a look at what was his issue a few months ago.
Hi, good day. My name is Anson Mohammed. I live in Libertyville, Rio Claro. I'm 44 years old. 3 years ago, I've been diagnosed with renal failure and heart failure due to high blood pressure and diabetes. Situation with the court right now, there are 2 committal warrants that are out for me. And committal warrants are basically straight to jail warrants because I have a 12-year-old son from a previous relationship that when I used to work, I used to pay maintenance for. 3 years ago since I have been diagnosed and I've been home because I've been told by doctors that I can't work. I'm 90% disabled. I've started to get disability and then public assistance. Since then I haven't been able to pay maintenance and I have made an application to the court to discharge maintenance, but the other party has never showed the court. It's been a year and a half now, and every time there's a warrant out for me, she continuously takes warrants out for me. She knows that I'm sick and not working, but she continuously takes warrants out for me. And every time I go to court in front of the magistrate, all they are concerned about is if I need time to pay the warrant. I don't get a chance to explain myself and tell them I have been sick, and there is also a case pending where I need to drop the maintenance. They don't want to hear that. It was a female magistrate. She asked me about the maintenance and if I am aware I need to pay it and whatnot, and if I need time. I said yes, but I'm also sick. I've been sick for 3 years. She said she doesn't want to hear. She actually said she doesn't want to hear that. I said, but ma'am, I'm sick. I actually raised up my shirt and showed her the catheter and whatnot because I was sick. She said, well, I am seeing 2 hands and 2 feet. There's no reason I can't see you sit down somewhere and answer on a phone to make $1 to pay maintenance. I have heart failure. As simple as brushing my teeth in the morning, I blow. Life is a complete turnaround now. There's plenty that I used to that I can't do. As much as walking, I have to slow down. Everything just slow down. So I think it was very unfair for she didn't. I don't get a chance to explain myself, and all you're concerned about is paying the money. Where am I going to get this money to pay? What should I do? Should I plant weed and sell? Or should I go and rob somebody? Should I hire somebody to kill somebody? I don't know.
Mr. Mohammed, as a father, you have other dependents as well. You told us you have other dependents as well that live with you.
Yes.
See, now that you're unable and you're now living off a disability, tell us your daily struggle. Tell us how it makes you feel. Tell us what you'd like to see happen. Just tell us how you feel generally as a father who's been put in this situation due to, nothing you did, but ailments that you found out that you had.
Well, generally, to be honest, the way I could describe it is generally I feel like a loser. To be honest, because when I was working, there were days I would be all over the country. Toco, Siparia, San Fernando, Diego Martin, all over. And anywhere I stopped, I would see something for my daughter, I would buy it. I would see something for my wife, I would buy it. Can't do that now.
So that's the sense of what Mr. Mohammed has been going through. Rhondall, good morning and welcome again. And of course, there are 2 sides to this. There's some, as we said earlier on, the side where there are men who abdicate their responsibility and have to be facing the brunt of the law. I have no problem with that. But then there are other circumstances that clearly what this man is saying, he can't work. If he does work, he probably can't work for long. So you've been advocating about the what you describe as the inequality in the court system or the justice system related to men for a while. Give us some backstory to how did this come to your attention, and we talk from there.
This actually came to my attention through a young lady that I actually know in the area. She actually supports us with a lot of the social events that we have. And this is actually her cousin. And they had bombed their head on every block. I think he was actually trying to find me. Unbeknownst to him, he didn't know that she knew me. And came to me. I mean, when I heard it, I was shocked, because the thing that hit me hardest is the magistrate's pronouncement that he finds some type of employment, even though he is on a disability grant. If the magistrate was aware of the laws, the magistrate would know that that is illegal for him to do. You cannot be on a disability grant and then go and find employment. They will take away the grant from you if you decide to do so. So, and this is not the only time I've heard this being told to men who are on disability grants. I've also dealt with another case where a guy was in an accident and a similar thing happened to him, and he was yet again, just like this gentleman, facing imprisonment for non-payment of child maintenance. In this case, after doing some investigation ourselves, we did find out, because the suggestion would have been, or the most reasonable thing would have been, we would have expected the magistrate to discharge the maintenance and then recommend that the mother go to social welfare or Ministry of Social Development for assistance. However, I mean, we would have found out that the child is already, or the mother is already receiving social welfare for the child. So even that was a bigger blow. So what we had to do, we had to make an application to the court. As I said, it's not the first time we've dealt with things like this. We have certain lawyers in certain instances like this, thank God, who would work pro bono with persons in his kind of situation. And we do take our hats off and thank Ms. Amelia Arilal for doing so. She would have brought the matter before the court, and we would have waited about 3 months to get before a magistrate, and the magistrate would have then now suspended or somewhat discharged the maintenance. He, however, still isn't out of the woodworks as yet, because even though the magistrate has power to suspend and revive or to discharge or discontinue a maintenance order, the magistrate doesn't have power to quash an existing warrant. That is something that we did years ago in another case that we had, not of similar nature. This was one where it was the father was proven as the non-biological parent, where we had to get a stay of the warrant from the High Court. We had to take it to High Court, get a stay of the warrant while the matter was heard in the High Court, and then we got the High Court to quash the warrant. So there's no real legislation that really quashes a warrant under this circumstance. But we are hoping that we could go back to use that very same precedent that was set in that case in 2015 thereabout, to have this warrant quashed. Because the 3 months we were waiting for him, a maintenance was still accruing, right? We was waiting to get in front of the magistrate. Maintenance continued to accrue. Plus, the existing warrants that were already taken out, they are there, and they are committal warrants, and they can be executed upon him at any time.
How was Mr. Muhammad able to prove or to show the court that before he got ill, he was a responsible father?
Well, the court would have been able to ascertain that, definitely, because if he'd had the maintenance for the child over a period of years, the size of the maintenance would have been astronomical if he wasn't maintaining the child previously. So the court would have been able to make that determining factor, as into how long. It's just 3 years, he said, I haven't been able to maintain the child. So the court would be able, based on the bill, the maintenance, to the sum it would have accrued, to ascertain the legitimacy of that. But the thing is, for me, Paul, I'm not thinking. To me, it is nonsensical, even when the person is errant, to imprison persons for maintenance. It has become our culture to do so, so as to be appear forceful or so as to appear threatening. But we have to remember what is the purpose of a maintenance order. the purpose of a maintenance order is to insist or to get a non-custodial parent, whether it's a man or a woman, because there are some women paying maintenance as well, to financially contribute. And I think it's an easy way just to let them out and send them to jail. Because when the man or the woman who's a non-custodial parent is in prison, the child is still suffering. And while incarcerated, the state minds the person that is in breach of the order for a bigger bill. 25 to 30,000 per prisoner per month is what we pay to maintain that person. And we have stuff on our law books already. There are family court, best world family court practices that can be introduced. And we have the ankle bracelet now introduced in our legal system that I think could be very instrumental into getting persons paying their maintenance and doing so in a meaningful way.
Yeah. But how would that work though? Because I know you have like the attachment of earnings, and some people, some parents or some birth parents go for that remedy that when the person gets the salary, it's deducted at source and sent to the court or sent to their account. But in terms of the ankle bracelet that you're talking about, how would that work in a maintenance situation that you think would be better than incarceration?
Yeah, I definitely think that would be a better suggestion. Currently, we put ankle bracelets on accused sexual offenders and we release them on bond into the society, but with condition. They have curfews, they can't be in certain places, and this I think will work similarly. So I'm thinking that you put an ankle bracelet on Kemoku, ensure that they have a curfew must be until 8 o'clock in the night. Also, you ensure that they're not in places like casinos, they're not in places like bars, they're not in places in anywhere where they could be spending this type of money that, even if they want to go as far as to say even in effect, because if you don't have money to maintain the child, you should never be in a casino gambling. So I think these things, just a person knowing that they're going to have, first of all, it's a sight for sore eyes on your ankle. First of all, knowing that somebody has an ankle bracelet on you, knowing that you're going to have restriction in certain places where you could go, I think that will be a deterrent. But it mustn't just be the ankle bracelet alone. It must be the person is placed with a probation officer or a parole officer of some sort that actually finds or assists them to get employment if they don't really have employment, so that the money can now be extracted whenever it comes into their account. Because the thing is, we have to make the focus of getting them in a position to financially contribute, or else we defeat the whole purpose. So putting them in prison, at least leaving them out with an ankle bracelet, connecting them to a probation or a parole officer that works, possibly some connect, where the probation officer has some relation with the Ministry of Labor to help them find employment and extracting the money, is a more probable case of actually getting money, opposed to sending them to jail where we know for sure they're not going to get money. Where we know for sure.
Rehabilitation is the way to go. Try to rehabilitate them into paying the maintenance as opposed to just custodial sentences.
Correct. That is the idea exactly. Because we have other things we have to consider when we imprison them. Men will tell you, and women who are incarcerated, they often tell me, Mr. Fields, we are the lowest chain in the prison. The rapists have more rights than us there. We vault everything, we hide everything, and many of them, when they go in there, not just for the fear of their life, many of them are the ones that come out sometimes, and they are the ones they see locked up abroad, because they would have gone in there, made certain real criminal connection, going in there without a criminal record, and then become criminalized, because that is the environment. Yeah. So we have to really wonder if what we are doing is actually better for society or actually worse.
Yeah, I mean, I've always felt in terms of that system that the Trinidad and Tobago prison system should have a minimal holding facility for issues like that. People with traffic tickets, who drive when their license expired, people on maintenance, which is a very light minimum holding facility that is not connected at all to those in there for criminal offenses. And so that it's a very minimal facility, which is what I know a lot of other countries do, who have that kind of penalty for things like that. But I take your point that you're thinking that it shouldn't go in at all into custodial sentence. That
Correct,
find
because
other
we're not going to get a
alternatives.
contribution. We're not going to get a financial contribution. If they do so, they will just be regurgitating some of them in jail because they can't get the bill off of their shoulder. And as I said, we have to remember the purpose of maintenance order, to get financial contribution, not to threaten you of imprisonment or to imprison you, but to get the money out of you.
Your sentiment is that it seems that the tendency is more punishment than to realize the objective of the sentence, because to the maintenance order.
Correct. Because if you look at our laws as it's written already, we have other ways beside imprisonment. You know? We have section 27(2)(a) of the family law that says that you could seize goods, you could seize chattels. So you could seize a car, you could seize jewelry until the debt is paid. So, but we're not looking at that. We're looking at the cultural way of just, all right, you don't pay, we give you some time to pay. Don't pay again, go to prison and stay. The child benefits in no way. The mother benefits in no way, or the custodial parent, whatever his mother or father, benefits in no way whatsoever. We could use the seizure of goods and chattels. Some of the same persons who are errant have big gold chains. Some of them have a big fancy car that they don't want to lose possession of. So there are other things already enshrined in law that can be utilized, and that is my challenge with the judiciary, because there are, even in the laws, section 27(4) of the very same Family Law Act says that in the instance like Mr. Mohammed and others, even on somebody who's honestly been good, Paul and guys, paying maintenance and lost their job, because this is a real scenario. I saw that happen with Asila Metal, I saw that happen with Petrotrin. In instances like that, the magistrate has the power to look at it holistically, make an assessment, and if you see that he isn't willfully negligent, not condemn him to prison. That's what the law says.
Let me ask a question about Mr. Mohammed's history of taking care of his children, because to me that should be a significant factor in whatever the judicial officer decides moving forward. If this person has been diligent and responsible, you don't treat that person the same way as somebody who has been irresponsible and negligent and just doing what they want.
Correct. So that's it. And I mean, and we have to take that consideration on medical health issue. You sending them into a prison system. Look at the guy who just died. They said he was ailing. So you sending him into the prison system where they may not be best equipped to take care of him. Mr. Mohammed receives dialysis twice a week. When he goes into the prison system, isn't it a greater strain on the prison's resources to take him to get dialysis, to bring him back for 2 days? So we're not making sense with some of the methodology that we are applying to this thing, because it's become more a retributive form of action than a restorative one. And that is where we're missing the whole mark. It is to get maintenance for the child and still try also, beside the money, to ensure that the man or the mother who is a non-custodial parent have some type of relationship with their children. Because I could tell you mothers pay. Up to yesterday, I was talking to a mother who has to pay for 5 children. And she has 2 other children in her next relationship. And she's facing imprisonment right now too.
Why do you think the system still seems to be reluctant to change? And as you said, there are statutes on the books where there are alternative approaches to dealing with the issue to achieve the stated objective, which is to take care of the child. That is the primary objective of this, to take care of the child. If the person continues to be responsible and abdicating the responsibility, there are steps you can take to move in that direction. But the system just seems to say, because we have a culture in some people's minds of some fathers not taking care of the children, because if you really do the maths in the country, it is a minority. We like to say that all man bad and all man in taking care of children, but that is actually not so when you look at the numbers.
Correct.
But there's a mindset culture of the mindset that says, well, all bad, so let me treat all the same way.
Correct. And I rightly identified, culture plays a part. But you know, it's another thing I've realized is responsible for this lack of change. Ignorance. And ignorance of the magistrates. Not knowing certain things, Paul, on the law books. A magistrate looked at me in a courtroom putting it a maintenance when the same case I'm referring to when the father was proven not to be the biological parent, and we asked him to suspend the maintenance until he did another paternity test that the court required. And the man should looked at me and looked at us and told us, oh, there's nothing in law that he could suspend or revive a maintenance order. It's only after I did law and went through the law acts myself, I saw the Family Law Act 21(2) that gave the magistrate that power to suspend and revive it at any time. So I am certain that many of them have not used the tools in the law because many of them are unaware of it.
Yeah. I get it. I mean, there's some, and I know they have so many variations of that maintenance story and how people end up in that situation. It's not a black and white story at all. Some men, sit before lawyers and say, look, I started seeing another girl, planning to get married, and all of a sudden the maintenance order comes up, even though they have been paying for the child, off the books. But sometimes it's used as a vindictive tool by some women to say, oh, you want to go to another woman? Bam! Maintenance order. All of those kinds of variations happen. Of course, you also have men who's really not fulfilling their responsibilities. So the state is really trying to balance a system where human emotions are involved. And how do you get to that fair point that addresses the needs of the parent who has custody of the child and needs the money, vis-a-vis the person who sometimes has a legitimate reason and who sometimes doesn't.
And I said,
it's a balancing act.
Lady Justice, there's a reason they have a blindfold over her eyes. She's not supposed to see all the confusion on the outside and all the reasons to be biased and what he did to the woman and what the woman did to him. That's why you come into court for an impartial view, somebody that could stand on the outside and do what is in the best interest of the child. That is what the court purports to do. And that is what you must do. So every single action you take must be in the best interest of the child. And I am saying that is not in the best interest of the child for two reasons. There's no financial gain from the non-custodial, no financial extraction from the custodial parent to the benefit of the child. And then the child also, some non-custodial parents are imprisoned. It doesn't mean that they don't have a good connection with the child, It doesn't mean that they didn't have a good emotional relationship with the child and they just fell on hard times. The child is also then removed from that parent. Then you're talking about many times persons have moved on and they have other dependents living with them. I just told you about the lady who has 2 other children living with her. Their fathers also who have other children living with them. And you come and you grab them out of the house in front of those children and leave those children without a breadwinner for a couple of months as well. So we have to take these things into consideration.
The court-based system helped in alleviating some of these issues because before COVID, you had to go and line up and stuff, and sometimes records weren't kept, so people would bring back in erroneous accusations and stuff like that. But now, because you can go through court pay at lot of booths, I understand, has that helped?
Court pay has helped with what it was made to do. Making it easier to pay, easier to collect. Also, as I said, giving you the affordability of a track record or giving you the affordability of some level of accountability. I would say it's helped in some regard to when it comes to the issuance of the card that the custodial parent needs to use. I'm hoping that they monitor that card to ensure that money is actually being spent on the child. I don't think they do that. But it's also created that avenue for that. However, court pay has been having its challenges. I'm always saying there's a glitch here, there's a glitch there. And whereas the system and the process itself is a good thing, they need to get it working efficiently. They need to get their vendors or whosoever. I think I see court pay made an announcement recently that you should only go to the NLCB booths to make this payment. Because for some other reason, when you go to the other merchants, it's taking a longer turnaround time. And some warrants were actually being issued for persons who would have paid in a timely manner. So the system itself, the idea of the system is still very good. We saw what it did during the COVID period. If it wasn't for that kind of system, children would have gotten problems because they couldn't go to the court. But they must make sure that it continues to work efficiently.
Yeah.
Are there still issues with visitation rights? Because I know that was a big issue in years gone by, where fathers and some mothers were being denied their legal visitation rights and time with their children.
It still is, and I don't know if it will ever change. I think for that to really change, we need to equate breach of the access order in a similar way to which we hold breach of the maintenance order. Until we do that, and until we start viewing the custodial parents who don't want to co-parent or don't want to give access when access is ordered to be given, hold them meaningfully accountable, we'll continue to see this happen. You understand? We often leave the custodial, whether it's the man or the woman, whether it's most times women, but there are men as well who do the same thing when they have custody, because it's a power thing, it's a power struggle. You understand? So I don't feel it's the gender makes that happen. No, I believe it's the factor who have power and who doesn't. So that custodial parent, many times, as I said, many people don't know any family law act section 30. The custodial parent can be brought before the court if proven to be using the money negligently and face imprisonment and a fine. The fine is small, $1,000, it should be $10,000, but we have laws to deal with the custodial parent. The issue with that is the process that we use. It's very challenging for a lawyer to bring evidence that can show the custodial parent is wasting the money. You understand? That's because we commingle funds, the money for the child, we put it into the account to the custodial parent.
Define wasting money.
Yeah. Well, that is it. We define wasting money. I've heard persons make the suggestion that, hey, I'm the custodial parent. If I am the custodial parent and I am a woman, I should be able to go and do my hair, or I should be able to go and take a drink with the girls because I'm working hard and I'm sweating. And my response to them is always this. If the non-custodial parent puts money in short for you and says, hey, I worked hard for my portion of my contribution, and I believe I was supposed to go and take a beer with the boys, so I deducted $100. Or I believe I was supposed to go and touch up my ends, so I deducted $200. Would you find it as satisfactory? So the thing is, we have to remember what the maintenance is for. The maintenance is for the upkeep of the child. It's for no other reason. The custodial parent must act as trustee because they also have a responsibility, and it is because we don't explain maintenance seriously and we do it haphazardly without proper accounting. That is why the person feels they are being paid, because the custodial parent is supposed to be making equal contribution as a non-custodial parent. The thing is, we just don't see them having to put it into an account to know if they ever are doing it. That's the thing.
Are you willing to take some calls?
Yeah,
of course.
I'm sure there are people who would have some questions. Yeah.
222-8255, 612-8255. If you're outside of Trinidad and Tobago, toll free 866-525-1019. How do you think
1099?
Well, you'll get it.
Yeah.
How do you think the laws can and should be changed in the interest of the children, based on the challenges you've seen the court system or the persons who feel they were aggrieved face or are facing?
I mean, definitely. I think even before the discussion of maintenance, which we love to argue about, we need to start looking at the custodial orders, the custody orders. That is where the whole thing could be fixed before without sometimes even having to make a maintenance order. We need to start at a position when mother and father are on equal footing, both have equal interest and are vested in each child, to start at 50-50, which is considered shared parenting. There are a number of states in the United States that are already doing that. They're both vested, they're both financially capable, they both want to be involved, which is many times the case, you know. But
and what about parents who are not on the same financial footing?
Well, whether same financial, it's not about being on the same financial footing. What I mean that they're both financially capable to maintain the child.
But
To
in
me,
some
in
cases,
my
in
judgment, if
alternative,
one
they're
is
not.
right, to me, if one isn't, I always think the child will be better taken care of than the one who can. That is my thinking. If you're saying that you're falling on hard times and you don't have a house over here, or you don't have a car, and sometimes that's where you see some of the orders being given to a particular gender who may have less resources than the other gender. And it's not about choosing gender, it's choosing where the child may be most comfortable. And with shared parenting, you may not have as, even though daddy have more than mommy, or mommy has more than daddy, once both have sufficient for the child to be comfortable, children are comfortable. I've shared parenting with my son for the last few years, no matter my economic status with his mother. And he loves both places. He enjoys both places because he has the opportunity to develop a relationship, not only with me and his mother, but with his paternal extended family and maternal extended family. And that's what children want more than anything else.
All right. We do have some calls coming through. So good morning to you, caller.
Hi, morning, good morning. guys.
Morning.
This is Wendell. I had to call in simply because I so enjoy listening to Rhondall and his knowledge of these issues, and I'm also a big fan of his on Facebook. But Rhondall, you shared something on your Facebook page the other day that I didn't hear you cover this morning, and I don't know how old that video was. It was a video of a man who got a maintenance order for a woman who had given up the children already. The woman had given up the child to somebody else to take care of, and she took out a maintenance order 2 years after. And he has been paying this maintenance order for 5 years, even though the woman does not have possession of the children. I found that to be an amazing thing. And it just goes to show sometimes how wicked, and I'm using the word wicked, how wicked these situations can become. You understand? So I want you to touch on that a little bit for me. So good morning, guys. You'll see me tomorrow. God willing.
All righty. Thanks, Wendell.
Good morning, Wendell.
And definitely, I mean, that was a stellar situation where the mother would have taken out, the mother didn't allow the father to see the child, and he possibly himself didn't have interest, so let's not take no blame off of his shoulders. So he didn't see the child for years. So the mother brought up the matter, and he was also thinking that the mother had the child in her possession. But she never did. She would have given the child away to the child's kindergarten teacher. So the child would have been living with the kindergarten teacher for the last 7 years. But she would have brought up a maintenance order as if the child was in her possession, received maintenance for a couple of years, and when he stopped paying or not, when he missed payments, she would take out warrants and have him arrested. It was not until a lady, the kindergarten teacher, bounced up the man's new wife and told him that the daughter was desirous of meeting the father. And that is when they realized that the child was never in the mother's care since then. And that is when we highlighted it to have the maintenance stopped, and nothing came out of it. Nothing came out of the mother doing that. There's no criminal charge laid against her. And I mean, even if we had brought up something through Section 30, her maximum consequence would have been $1,000 to pay. You understand? So she hoodwinked the entire system. I also, years ago, dealt with a situation where a mother collected maintenance for a child that had died for a while and didn't say anything. You understand? So the reason she collected it is the man knew it died, but it continued to accrue. And he had to then pay.
Oh, we have another call there, gentlemen. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. First, I want to thank you for doing the work that you do, because a lot of men there, they're suffering under this system and they really have no voice. And you actually bring you bring it to the topic and where we can discuss it. Now, I personally have been, this happened to me. I have 3 children. I mean, they're all adults now. But I remember before Justice, I wouldn't call his name, when we were going through a divorce, and my ex-wife wanted full custody. And obviously, I wouldn't allow that because, I mean, I want to see my children. And the judge told me that between 10 and 6 o'clock on a Sunday was enough time for me to be with my children. Now, mind you, that is 8 hours. 8 hours for 52 Sundays in a year. But I am expected to pay half of everything plus a certain amount for each child. Now, you imagine that. That's what I had to do because there was a court order. I remember once when my ex-wife's mother couldn't go and pick up the child, and she would have WhatsApped me because I live and work close to where they go to school. Most times I used to go outside the school and talk to them through the fence. And I had to pick them up. And would you believe she threatened me to go to the court to say that I had contact with them during the week. And I didn't know what that would have caused. I would have had to hire a lawyer to maybe go through that. And it's just there's nothing solid. It's just, it goes by whatever judge you get. And if you get an old judge who believe that the man wrong, or you get a woman, well, oh gosh, if you get a woman, couple smoke your pipe.
Well, I guess let's just say not all women.
Yeah.
No, but it's pressure, and you just don't have any rights. I remember a time seeing my children in September, the first week of school, and then next time I saw them was for April. So I remember going to a Christmas morning, going to drop off presents, and my ex-wife meeting me by the gate and say, they're going out and she don't feel that I could see them today.
But Paul and guys,
my children at the Christmas, I had to leave the presents by the gate.
I want you all to notice something, and I see it all the time.
Yeah.
These men never forget that pain. I went through it myself, I can tell you. There's nothing more heartbreaking when you make that plan and you're excited to go with that gift. And when you go, now you can't see them, go from it. I used to tell people that could cause road rage when a man coming back out a day and a man give him a bad drive, could kill somebody sometimes, because it is so destroying. It destroys your heart so much emotionally. That man was he talking about 18 or 20 years ago, and he will never forget it. And that is how
that it happened so long ago, and you could still hear the hurt in his voice.
Yes. We have another call, gentlemen. Good morning.
Hey, morning, Rhondall, Steve.
Good morning, Mr. Patrick.
Yeah, well, Mr. Hafiz,
morning.
Mr. Hafiz, I mind people children already. Plenty people children. I find it strange in Trinidad and Tobago how people just defy the court order when it comes to maintenance. In the States, I see men in the States, the minute they get child support, is that serious issue? Child support is that serious issue. You could go where one in the States and find you. Look, for instance, I have a friend right now, she have an issue. The High Court, which went through a divorce, grants a maintenance order for the husband to maintain the child. Right? The man only pay for 3 months and he pay for 3 years.
I understand. And there could be a number of reasons for that. He could be blatantly negligent, as we may first off think. Sometimes he could be vindictive too. Sometimes when he minding the child all the time and you decide to go spite him, he don't know he's doing himself an injustice because he could be imprisoned. But I have heard many men, just after last week, a man was vexed with me because I advised him to continue paying the maintenance even though he wasn't getting visitation to the child. And he thought I gave him bad advice. It's only last week he realized I was just trying to save him from being imprisoned. Because not everybody understands and negotiates that the right way. They think, well, if I ain't getting to see my child, why pay money for?
But the man wants sex to man your child.
He was?
Sex to man your child.
No, but I'm not saying no. As I said, I'm not saying that people would be negligent also.
When the lady decides to try to pursue the matter, so a lawyer, the lawyer tells she shall go back to the High Court and not to the Magistrate Court. So that's what I was frustrated.
Well, another complication like that is that sometimes
You have to
when
go back to the High Court because it's a High Court order.
Thank you, Mr. Patrick.
when sometimes men are paying the maintenance, and because the woman has gotten into a new relationship, cohabitational, they say, well, let your new man pay for your child.
All kind of thing like that could happen.
Foolishness like that, and
Yeah, so remember this is an acrimonious thing, you know. The court makes this so much more acrimonious, I have no belief, because as I said, you do me something, I have to do you back something. And that never works in the interest of the child. I never think family and court should be together. Because what we need to start doing, we be pushing this maintenance thing, but we need to start pushing the shared parenting thing, the shared custody thing, so that what we care about, giving him the money to the custodial parent or getting the child to be the best citizen in Trinidad and Tobago holistically, that they have an emotional relationship with both parents, that they're taken care financially. What is in the best interest of the child? That is what we need to focus on. Because we could give the money, as I said, he could have been paying money to the mother religiously. We don't know if the child getting a cent. So money does not equate to the upkeep, the general upkeep and the well-being of any child. Some children don't even see the money. What they want to do is see daddy inside a graduation, or see daddy by a football game, or see daddy in a PTA meeting. That is what the child sees. And we've been so intertwined with this Western culture of family court fighting that we can't put our differences aside and co-parent. Many matters don't need to go to court, you know. It is because one party wants the other party to listen to them,
well,
and if it listen to them,
the court acts as a mediator in acrimonious situations, supposedly in the best interest of the child, because the child is the most important person in this entire situation.
There's one thing though we can't discuss all this, Paul, and forget, and that must be governed by the Family Law Act Section 22. It deals with paternity. Paternity is a serious issue. We have people who are imprisoned and have warrants, and who we call it negligent and bad and all kind of things sometimes, and it's tested that they're not the fathers of the children. Some of them who saying, well, I ain't paying because I don't feel it's my child, and they were actually right. And some of them who paid religiously and built a strong emotional bond. Those are the ones I worried about. Not the ones who don't care and just want to get away from the bill, but the ones who were invested in the child's life. I have seen men break down like babies and cry on the floor like babies. When I had to, trust me now, Paul, when I see that child is not there, or the child looking just like them, and the child is not theirs, paternity fraud needs to be placed on our law books. You cannot want to make somebody pay a penalty for a child that did not biologically father. And they were deceived to believe that they fathered. It could never be right.
Yeah. All right, let's grab this call. Good morning. Thanks for holding.
All right. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Terrence Bong the name. Rhondall know me well. And because of listening what is happening here, I recognize why in sociology the family is the largest study, because it is highly dynamic. It is multifaceted, and there is no one bullet to deal with these issues that we are speaking about. However, I listen to Rhondall there, good friend of mine there, and I recognize, I'm asking myself, are we speaking about the exception when we deal with the deadbeat dad, or is this the rule? Because I didn't do the research, so I cannot say. But what I know, I have a grounded theory experience in this. Being a pastor and all, I have had many, and did I say many? Many women coming to me, so as the first step before they get to the court, dealing with the pain and the problem and how they went through this great attrition to stay away from the court. And I am wondering sometimes when we speak about a dad, and I want to tell Paul that video he played earlier really moved me. I want to say that. It moved me in ways that it troubled me after the video was over. But I'm wondering if we are not just speaking as far as the male are concerned, the exception and not the rule. Because my experience has shown me that women suffer. I heard Rhondall speak about the men breaking down in tears. I have had those tears on my shoulder that sometimes 11 in the night, 12 in the night, I cannot sleep because my encounter with a few women based on the hassle and the harassment that they are going through because of their deed that. And so when I hear about women doing things to men, I ask myself, is this as equal? And it just so happens that women only coming to me because of my role, and there are a lot of men out there going through the same thing. And Rhondall Theory said to me, a sample size, any sample size you take really reflects the majority because it's a subset of the majority. And I dare say, I feel women are suffering more because of this thing than men are. And if I am wrong, I stand to be corrected. But I want us to deal with this thing not from the exception point of view, but the rule. That's all I have to say. I know Rhondall would have researched even what I'm saying, so I'm waiting to hear. But from my experience,
if you realize, bro, everything I'm talking about is from the rule. It covers both the person who's negligent and it covers the person who wants to be involved. The issue here is we cannot consider just the hurting of the mother and the hurting of the father. You know. The person who's most important here is the child. And sometimes a woman might cry because she find already the man cheating and he gone and he start and have a new life. A man may cry because the same thing would have happened to him. But they both have children in the center who did nothing of the sorts. So the focus must be shifted from the crying woman and shifted. The only reason I'm speaking about the men here is because it is the miscarriage of justice, not because of the impact on their emotions. You know. So emotion is important. But what I am saying here is that we must do, when we're talking about the rule, what is in the best interest of the child and nobody else.
Rhondall, that's another discussion by itself. I am the hearer, and you are communicating to me. And as I'm listening, what I'm hearing is an argument for male. And the argument seems that this thing is across the board. And I'm saying from my work, and I'm doing this for 30 years, and my work and my experience in the field, I cannot relate to what you are saying. No, the issue of all these other issues on the court, these are other issues. I'm just dealing with the issue of deadbeat. And when I'm listening to you, it comes across like there are this 20 men facing this kind of trauma and it's equal with the woman. And I haven't gotten that. In all my years in ministry, I haven't gotten what you are saying. I know men from time to time who are hurting and face the raw end of the stick. But my experience, and nothing can beat that, my experience has shown me is overwhelmingly women who are going through this thing. And that's,
but let me ask you something, bro. Have you investigated into the same particular matter where the person is who told you this man is a deadbeat? Have you investigated to see the man's situation, to see if he is definitely a deadbeat in every situation? Because that is the side I see. Because this man who had that catheter, who impacted you, if you spoke to his ex-wife, she would call him a deadbeat. She would say he didn't take care of his children. She would say that he was not a good father, even though she was receiving social welfare and still took out warrants against him. So that is what I am telling you. Many of the same women come back to me and tell me later down in life, who cried on your shoulder possibly, Mr. Fields, at first I didn't like you, but the very same thing I did to his father, another woman is doing to my son right now.
Fine. But when they come to me, Rhondall, when they come to me, I'm not a policeman, I'm not a court officer. They come to me for counseling. And you should know. But once they come to me for counseling, I cannot counsel one person. Psychologists do that. But the sociologists will not, because we recognize everything happened in a group setting and nothing happened by itself. So when they come to me, immediately I am putting on my counseling coat now. I'm trying to bring the parties together. Most of the time, the guy don't even want to come. Most of the time.
He wouldn't. And let me tell you why. Because most men don't feel safe in spaces to speak. Because most time, that is what they hear they are. They hear they are deadbeats. They hear they are no good. They hear they are the lowest in society. The only man and that's why they flock to me. Because I am the only man that gives some kind of air to some issue they may be going through meaningfully. I don't support people who do the wrong things, I have supported many a woman. But what I am saying, many men, most times, don't subject themselves to some of these places because culturally, deadbeat father is the president. We are the ones who introduced the social word single father into this space, and it was done purposely. But before you heard about Single Fathers Association, the talk of the tongue when you talk about fathers was deadbeat father, even more than good fathers. And as Paul said earlier, I guarantee you there are more good fathers than bad fathers in society. Yes,
that's not natural.
More about dead fathers, deadbeat fathers.
Rhondall, thank you for being with us. Always a really elucidating conversation, and keep up your great work as usual.